never saw the National Orientation Agency doing anything. It was after the flood that maybe if you watch national televisions, I don't see more of them. I don't know if there are anything they are doing, the sensitization and the rest of them, like the current, the new naira. If you go to some places, some market women they don't accept it, and I believe that that is the work of the National Orientation Agency to sensitize the people on all this. But for me, over the years, it's like that organization has been a ghost. And lastly, the EFCC. Please, sir, I want to know because we've been saying this. The EFCC, what is their role in fighting this corruption? Because there has been this accusation of selective persecution. Because there are some cases you will hear, at the end, you will hear nothing about it again. So, what is the role of EFCC? Are they transparent? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So we have three questions from you. First, does health really improve? And the question from for NOA and the EFCC. Madam, you raised your hand. You're third in this.
No, I wanted to get a copy of the inscription.
Oh, I see. Okay, that works. Not to worry, we'll all get a copy of it. All right. It's good to see you again. Last time we saw was where? It was Rivers, right? Yeah, it's good to see you again.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Nii Omoni. I'm a reporter with News Central TV. So I have a question for Sarah, the EFCC, and of course NOA. I'll start with Sarah. So various sectors, if I want to start, I'll start from fuel scarcity. Nigeria has been going through a lot. It has to do with fuel scarcity. In fact, in a year now, we don't know how many times that occurs. And it's still ongoing, but one thing I've come to notice is the problem is within the people because no one is even getting information. If I go to Loma, they bill people, but they come once in a month, yet they want people to pay for four times in a month. If I go to sewage, there's recently an investigative piece, I think done by someone from Punch or something, that mentioned that one of the sewage disposal institutions in Lagos is actually taking the sewage back into the water without even processing and everything. Still working on that. We want to talk about train station attack that also happened recently in Edo, and so many more. What I'm trying to say is that it's easy that Serap is fighting these things, but I feel they need an insider to be able to get some things done. How much of an insider does Serap have in most of these organizations, in most of these big institutions or these parastatals that can help them, just as I said, when they are in court for political reasons, it's faster. But when they're in court for other social reasons, it's slower. So what kind of internal connection do they have with these organizations to speed up? EFCC. EFCC mentioned, I think last year, that the money they recovered last year was more than the money they recovered since EFCC had been operational. All those money recovered, what is the plan for it? Because it seems, yes, the animals that eat up animals now, they have gone extinct, but we don't know what's coming up next. That's for EFCC. NOA, just to buttress the point of the gentleman who spoke earlier. Recently, I was at Edo for the train attack, and I was asking the people, have you seen the new Naira note back in the village where the thing happened? Have you heard about it? Some of them don't even know what it looks like. And I'm not sure I've seen any jingle or even on national TV from NOA, which is the agency responsible for information dissemination on that particular currency, on the circulation, on how it looks, even when information came out that there's a lot of counterfeit of those particular notes, nothing till now has been done. So please, anyway, I'm glad you're here. We'll be able to get more information about that. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. I think we'll just handle those, not three questions, but the three ones from individuals. The first one is particularly how is it that government that promised transparency and accountability at the onset seems to be failing in that guise? So it is.
Thank you very much. I can't recall the name of the gentleman that asked that question, but I think GSA, as we can see from the press briefing, and as an outcome of our own findings, there is a lack of political will on the part of government officials at all levels to be transparent and be accountable. It's very important to understand the distinction between transparency and accountability on one hand and corruption on the other. Lack of transparency and accountability may not necessarily be corruption, but we do know it increases and it facilitates corruption. So in this instance, the question you asked, government has allocated millions, if not billions, of money for flood relief victims and victims of natural disasters. And that is good. But now there needs to be a system that tracks, I dare say follow the money as it were, to ensure that it is judiciously spent and it gets to those who need it most. What is the essence of billions of naira allocated and spent, and then the victims do not get any relief? And what it means is that for those who have done this, who are corrupting the system, they will continue to do these things. And ultimately, not the government, the people will suffer. So that is why transparency and accountability means not only figures as to how much is allocated, but steps that have been taken down the line to ensure that those who should get this funds get them. And this also speaks to the various actions of government, including some of those social safety net programs, where we've seen people get various sums of money. It is not enough to hear the numbers. It is not enough to say 100 million people have been lifted. I used to wonder what that lifted means at the time. But to ensure that those who need it the most get it, and that the government can provide information any day to say, these are the list of people who got these funds, this is where they are from, those kinds of information should be available to the public. And I think, can I go to the next question, the one that concerns Sarah?
Oh yes, the one about just how much of internal.
I have the
Oh yes.
So I think the EFCC and the NOA thank God I'm not from here. Yeah, Mr. Chiles here asked about, you've spoken about functional isolation centers and if there's any improvement in healthcare facilities. And this is not only Abuja. And I can underscore this by basic simple facts. The National Health Act Section 11 provides that, and this is an act of the National Assembly by the way, that the government will allocate not less than 1% of the consolidated revenue fund to what is called the Basic Healthcare Provision Fund. And when you look at that section with law, those funds are meant to make up with a lot of things, including the recurrent expenditure salaries of the doctors and healthcare professionals in the primary healthcare. That means in all the local government areas in Nigeria. But what we've seen year in, year out, including during COVID, when there was a supplementary budget, is that government just allocates that minimum, 1%. And again, the wording of the law is clear, not less than 1. So it means it can be afforded. And that means that if the government is really serious about that sector, it could allocate more. But we need to understand it does not stop at allocation. We also need to follow the money to ensure that they do not end up in private pockets. Which speaks, for instance, to the 2023 budget. The National Assembly has increased the allocations of some MDAs, which has bloated the figure of the budget from 20 trillion to 21 trillion. And we should ask this very important question. Why? What is the rationale for the National Assembly increasing, particularly capital expenditure for those entities? And that will speak to whether those things are really important at this time or not, whether those actions are in private interest or the public interest. During COVID, it was natural and reactive for us to fund those areas as well as centers and all. I do not know whether as a government that is a priority now or it's primary healthcare. But whatever allocations was made, we need to ensure that those funds really get to those people. But again, in a country where we found that the clinic at Aso Rock is not functional. I doubt if we hear other news, we will be surprised. And then Mr. Omoni from Youth Central has asked about fuel scarcity. I saw queues this morning by the way, even though I didn't queue to buy fuel. And I bought at 250. And we spoke about normal waste management and all, and water as well. And he has asked how much information or the relationship Serap has in these public institutions to allow us to do our work. That speaks to the essence of the freedom of information request that we send out to these agencies of government. Because one, the law gives us the right to do so, and two, because we need information for our activities. And that is why we have consistently stated and advocated that government cannot clamp down on freedom of expression. Because if you refuse to give out information, of course, people will either give out the wrong information intentionally or mischievously or innocently. So what we are trying to do is to follow up with our freedom of information request, follow up visits, and then consequently, if that doesn't work, we end up in court. But we also work with these agencies of government to ensure that we get the information that we need to do our work, and sometimes we work with them as well. I think that pretty much answers I think the other two are for EFCC and the National Registration.
Absolutely, thank you very much, Mr. Oluwadari. Just before we go to the NOA and the EFCC, if you just joined us, I'd like to welcome you to this press briefing by Sarah. It focuses on corruption in water, health, and the education sectors. As you can see, it's on bill prices. And we've gone through quite a lot. So we have the question and answer time. So if you've got any question, please feel free to ask, and we have representation across board, print, online, broadcast, TV, radio, and the rest. We have premium times here, we have cable, we have the FRC and NOA, we have Daily Trust, Rave TV, Lagoon Radio, and the list goes on. So it's going to be an interactive session, as you can see. So please feel free to ask those important questions so we can at least get some more insight. So I'm going to go to Dr. Ishola, Wahid Ishola now, with the NOA to get his response to the question. It's a very big question that has been asked, and it will be good for you to respond to. We talked about funding, the new Naira notes, the flooding, and all of that.
Thank you very much. When I was doing my Google list, I did mention that NOA is one of the most unified programs. And it surprises me that people that are supposed to know are those that are doing this. The journalists are supposed to inform is already misinformed. Or perhaps maybe because you are not listening or watching. I'll tell you, it baffles me when you say NOAA is a ghost agency or acts like a ghost agency. NOAA has been up and doing all through the year, especially as during the voter registration by INEC. We are all across the youth agreed. Let me not speak specifically for Lagos, where I pretend over. I can tell you for free, if you go into the communities, they will talk to you about NOA. We have built goodwill over the years. I'm on my 35th year in service in NOA in Lagos State. So I know from the onset, from NAMSA to NOA. Yes, we might have some challenges, but we have done very well. If you had watched, just on Monday, I was on the flagship program of LTV8, Lagos Today, talking about the redesigned Naira notes. A week before that, I was on iImpact TV. I have all of them here. My officers in all the local governments of Lagos State and the 37 local council development areas of the state are going to all the critical stakeholders, especially the markets, to sensitize them on the new redesigned Naira notes. Yes, NOA cannot force banks to bring out these Naira notes. CBN gave a directive to all the banks that they should stop issuance of old new naira notes over the counter. That they should put all the new naira notes, regardless of the denomination, 200, 500, 1,000, in their ATM. I was on the ATM today. I got old naira notes. That is a feedback that we're going to give to CBN. But we are doing our own bit to ensure that all of us, Nigerians, Lagosians, accept the redesigned naira notes. There have been so many misconceptions about the redesigned naira notes. Some people have said that it is Baba Blue, that it fakes. It's a lie. You know, yes, most of us Nigerians are quick to complain, but we are not going to act. Just like it's happening with the collection of PVC. It started since. Now that they know that the time is almost gone, people are busy because of what we have done. Naira notes, a lot of us still believe that, those of us that have piggy banks at home still believe that we will still keep it there. But I can tell you, NOA has done its own bit. Yes, we have our challenges. We think out of the box to ensure that we achieve our mandate. So I will plead with all of us who are supposed to know, not to join the naysayers, to keep on condemning NOA, that we're not doing anything. We are essentially a grassroots-based institution. We have our representation in all the local governments in the federation. These are our concerns. All of you, you know that if you keep your own naira notes till 31st of, after 31st of January, it will be useless. But those mama selling, we must tell them that they should exchange their naira notes through all the channels that have been provided. So please join us to help you to sensitize Nigerians. And thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Can we put our hands together for you? Just before I go to the EFCC, I mean, you can literally feel the pain, honestly. And maybe for policy formulation, because this is not just a talk show, as you know. This is something that we'll come to do and then leave with actionable points. What more, and this is me asking, what more do you want the NOA to do that you're not seeing right now? If anybody wants to volunteer, I crave your indulgence. Okay, there you go. I crave your indulgence to do this. What more do you think that the NOA should be doing? So, policy formulation.
I think more of a pre than a post. More of what? A pre than a post.
Okay.
So it mentioned now that they've been doing a lot of sensitization since the CBN rolled out the new currency, checking banks and stuff. What I'm more concerned about is before these instructions were given out, before this information was given that they will do this, what connection or what synergy does NOA have with these agencies to ensure that even the sensitization begins before implementation? That is what I'm more concerned about. And I think that's one of the policies that can help. So before implementation, how far has information reached the residents or the people where you want to implement this project?
Okay, more pre than post. Okay. You, sir, the suit.
All right, my name is Stephen Oladele from Citizens Council. The representative of NOA said they have been having interactions with the grassroots. I don't know if those interactions have been a town hall quite different from what we really want to see. This is not a dig at anybody. I'm actually anticipating a real town hall, like I said, that's free. I was speaking with my dad this morning. I said he should keep this particular amount of money for me. I want to take it to the bank since we all know that to the 1st of January, the old currency will no longer be in use. And he said, I beg you. I still went to the bank yesterday. The ATM is still giving me old notes. So I don't know if during the planning of NOA, you get the aggregate opinions of Nigerians. Because I believe that's one thing they should be doing. Policy formulation, like you rightfully said. Help us. You have the opinions of Nigerians who would love to see better things done in the country and using this as a case study. How can you help us tell them that, okay, this currency that you are giving us, Is there something we can do to make it better? So always be in the table when they are making those decisions so that we'll also be part of it.
Okay, thank you very much. Because orientation and information is key to transparency and accountability anywhere you go. Okay, just to, this is a detour. This is not part of the press briefing, but I thought that it would just be important. Just a moment. Let me take the people at the back. So just a minute. You have a minute, 60 seconds.
I just want to throw light on the problem of communication about the Naira redesign. I believe that it's a top-down communication gap, especially from the Central Bank of Nigeria, because some of us were privileged at exclusive briefing on the issue, and we raised the question that, look, given the sensitivity of the project, how did you communicate this, to the grassroots who are going to be the end users of this new Naira notes? And the answer given was that, oh, no, we spread the information through the mass media. But we also noted the fact that the mass media itself seems to have played down the issue because it affects certain, political sentiments. That was the interpretation given to it by some sections of the media, which, played down, the necessity for spreading the information.
Right.
So that is just the issue. It's a communication gap from the top to the bottom.
Thank you very much, sir. So that's some insight. We'll just take one more for the, for suggestions for NOA so we can move on.
Good afternoon. Okay, mine is a contribution though. I think we keep talking about policies. I think Nigeria is a country that already has a lot of policies. So can we just go back, think critically, and look at the previous policies we've had as a country, and then, strategically, I believe all these things you are talking about, they're already, somewhere in all the already made policies that we have, rather than making policies here, there, everywhere, and none of the policies are working. So I think we should go back to the table. Those ones are already yardsticks for us. They're already, templates for us. Let's look into them and see how things can, work, and then we move forward as a country. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Truth is this, going back to all of those documents is a policy in itself, really. You have to decide and say, okay, let's go back. So yes, thank you for that. I mean, I think I've heard that time and again that Nigeria is not bereft of all of those policies. Okay, in response to those questions. Okay, 1 minute, sir.
Thank you very much. The last gentleman that spoke there, I said it all. The question you ask yourself, somebody said it should be pre, not post. The question we should ask ourselves is, when did CBN contact NOA? NOA cannot just go out and say, because we do not have all of those designs of the Naira notes. CBN printed all the IEC materials. I have the IEC materials in my car downstairs. I'll go down and share it with all of you, even if you frequently ask questions. When were those things given to NOA? Before we begin to crucify NOA. So please.
So is the government working in silos?
Well, there was a time that NOA said that all the enlightenment funds of NDAs should be channeled through to NOA. Because we have the leverage, we have the manpower, to publicize government policies, programs, and activities. Why we are different from Ministry of Information is that we provide a feedback mechanism, like all that has been happening now. Like I said, I was at this ATM today, still got old notes. It's going to be part of my communication to CBN that this is what is still happening. We have barely 2 weeks to the end of the old notes. So I think all we need to do here is this kind of interaction that we're having. Right. But we must place it in the right perspective, not crucifying NOA.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Shola. Don't forget, this is a press briefing on failed promises in the areas of water, health, and education. corruption in those areas particularly. But it's understandable, Nigeria's challenges are multifaceted. So here and there you see those things coming up. So we'll take the round of questions for him. But let's get the EFCC to respond to those questions that were asked, and then we'll come back to Dr. Dr. Shela, you're not leaving, are you? Okay, you need to take water. It's very important. Just take a breather so that they don't. Okay, you're okay. Okay, the materials. All right, thank you, sir. All right, so for the EFCC, sir, the questions are two of them. What's the role of EFCC in fighting corruption, really, practically speaking? And then the second one is on the money's recovered. What is being done with them? Are we really seeing them? So those are the questions. Thank you.
Yeah. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Let me take the second questions, which has to do with what the NTC does with the recovered money. Well, this is a very interesting question. Oftentimes, we have always had to answer this question at different fora. But let me just say, unlike what many of us think, the money that the EFCC recovers does not come to the EFCC directly. Where the money goes, if I, let me say at this follow-up, is that it goes into the consolidated revenue account of the federal government. So what we do, the EFCC, is just to recover the money through the law court. So when we do that, when the money is recovered, we pay it into the revenue account of the federal government. Does that answer the question? Now, what is it? Answer the question.
Is that satisfactory for you?
Yes. Okay. Let me thank you also for that brilliant questions. As much as possible, we do that. And how do we do that? Yeah, it's. I mean, this has to do with what the citizens themselves want us to do with the money recovered. And how do I mean? Now, if you have petition sent to us, we work on the petition. For example, you are talking about corruption in health, education, and water, right? We expect that come up with petitions to our office. When you do that, we work on it. So whatever earlier when he was making his address, he talked about the fact that they are still Sarah has taken 8 different governors to court over corruption in the health, education, and water sectors. So what we expect is that we want Sarah to take it further than that. Probably write to the FCC what their investigations have been, and then we take it up from there. What the FCC wants those governors in particular to do with the monies, to do in those sectors is good. Yes, we are not doing the right thing, but we can as well engage or invite or even bring in the FCC to help us do the need.
Right. Just maybe to be clear again. So the question she asked is, are you able to tell them what to do with the funds? Is it within your establishment act to actually say, to monitor the use of those funds when you return them?
Yes. So, to a very great extent.
So you monitor government when you remit, let's say, ₦1 billion, you watch the federal government and say, this is how it should be spent. It's within the purview of your act. Okay, does that answer the question?
Another question is
What exactly is the role of the EFCC?
the role of the EFCC is to investigate economic and financial crimes through enforcement, coordination, and prevention. Yeah, these are the 3 areas that the EFCC work on, and that is what we are doing here at the moment. Part of the prevention strategy of the EFCC, enlightenment and coordination. That is prevention, because we believe prevention of corruption is far cheaper than prosecution of corruption.
Indeed. The question also had another part about being selective. Yes.
Maybe they want to.
Everybody, do we know they're not? Is it? Okay. All right, thank you very much. Let's put our hands together for him. If you have another question for him, we'll take that. But let's take the second round. And I'll start with you, sir. You had a question for me anyway. Then I'll come to both of you. Or has he answered the question?
is Sudan. I work for the other companies with us. Said, I want to find out if enough fund is made available to National Education Agency to be able to do this. They do a lot of programs, around, and it's not for free. There's the money. Let him tell us whether enough funds is made available.
I think he answered that already. In fact, that was part of his opening remarks. He literally introduced himself and said, they don't give us enough money. So, I think he has established that, but you can buttress that point.
Thank you very much. Like I said, money is the will of evangelism. Yes. There's no how any agency or government will be that adequately funded. But the essence is that I remember during MAMSA, all local government offices of MAMSA then had a brand new station wagon. I started with NOA in 1988. We all had brand new, and we had everything to work. But over the years, there's been competition there. So we think outside of the box to ensure and leverage on resources of other institutions. And that was why we proposed then that publicity votes of MDAs should be channeled through NOA, so that we'll be able to assist them in publicizing their activities. But that has not worked. But we've done all we could do in Lagos. I can comfortably talk about Lagos. And I know my DG is also not resting on his hands by ensuring that he leveraged on other agencies of government, part of which is what we're doing with CBN now.
Right.
This is the redesigned Naira note, which we are pasting across all the markets and communities. And we have the frequently asked questions also distributed to people.
True.
If we don't have it, I will not be able to go bring it in my car. I move around with it.
A quick follow-up, and I'll come to you quickly. This is a very important point, and I just wanted to make it. I'm reading the story from, I think, 2021, when the